On Saturday the 5th of April, I was up in Auckland for yet another ride aboard the M.O.T.A.T trams. I thought that they would only be running as far as the Auckland Zoo stop, due to what I read on the museum's website about engineering works along the rest of the line. But on the day I visited, the trams kept going all the way to the museum terminus anyway. When the tram line first opened in 1967, it consisted of just 300 metres of track within the museum grounds at Great North Road. Later, in December 1980, a 429 metre long extension to the corner of Motions Road was opened, followed by another 300 metres to the zoo in 1981, and finally, 632 metres to the M.O.T.A.T 2 terminus in 2007. The total length of the line is now 1.67 kilometres, but regardless of the track length, tram rides at M.O.T.A.T are free of charge. For anyone who doesn't know, M.O.T.A.T's tram line is dual gauge. On one side, there's an additional rail to allow the 1219mm gauge Wellington trams to run on this track, but the other side has just one rail shared by both standard and 4-foot gauge trams. Those from Auckland and Melbourne run on 1435mm standard gauge, and speaking of which, the two trams that we'll see in action this time are Auckland Streamliner No. 248 and Melbourne SW6 class No. 893. .248 was one in a class of 6 trams known as the Streamliners, and is now 87 years old, having been built in 1938. She was in service on the original Auckland system right up until its closure on the 29th of December 1956, and is now one of 2 Streamliners preserved at M.O.T.A.T. The other example is number 253, but that tram hasn't run for over 40 years at this point. .893 is now 82 years old, having been built in 1943 as an example of the 120-strong SW6 class. The W series were, and still are, iconic symbols for the city of Melbourne, and 12 of 893's sisters are still in service, albeit only on the tourist-focused City Circle route. Those examples of the W series that are still running in Melbourne were heavily refurbished over the last 13 years, and are now designated as the W8 class. Incidentally, the refurbishment was so extensive that not much of the original tram is actually left. Meanwhile, within the museum grounds, there was this old trolley bus on display next to the tram's mechanical workshop. This was an interesting find, since I didn't even know that Auckland ever had trolley buses. In any case, when it comes to where these vehicles get their electricity, I prefer trolley buses over battery buses, because the trolleys don't have to lug around the weight of all those batteries. At this point, it was less than an hour before the museum closed for the day, so I figured it was about time I actually went for a tram ride. I'll leave you with the footage from that ride aboard 893.